Hey, what is up? Ross Cessna from Spiritual Studios here. 2020 is officially over and we are into 2021 now. I wanted to bring you a year ahead by month spread, and we are going to get right into it now, right? So let's switch to the tabletop view. Sorry for the glare. It's just because I have the ring light on and it's hard to see, right? Very first month of 2020 is January. January is Seven of Cups in reverse. This is about determination or decision. It's honestly saying, what are you going to do differently this year? And it's kind of cliche to say that because that's what it's always about. This year is a 5-year, and that would be Hierophant. So it's about traditions and beliefs, right? And this is being determined or making a decision to look at your traditions and beliefs and to see which ones are actually worth maintaining and keeping, and which ones are worth letting go of. And additionally, January is probably going to be a month that will challenge some of your determination and the decisions that you're making to make sure that you're actually staying committed to what you want. I'm disappointed right now because the light is ruining the amazing artwork that my friend Stephanie Capone did on this deck. There we go. You can see it better there. Oop. But she like hand illustrated all of these. Sorry, I went off on a tangent. But Seven of Cups upright is normally about like fantasy and illusion, right? And the determination and decision is seeing through the illusion or the fantasy of your traditions and beliefs and making a decision to make them more grounded in reality. So it's going to be an interesting first month for all of us, right? Then we're going to move on to February. The Chariot card comes up. This is about self-control and willpower. So exerting your own influence, right? This is kind of harnessing your skills and honing your power and channeling it towards one specific outcome and getting good results. Funny thing about this too is I actually have 2 Chariot cards in this deck because I thought I lost one and then I just threw it in there. Some people be like, no, you're ruining the deck. I honestly think that it's very fitting for me because everything I've done has taken a lot of self-control and willpower. So having an additional one makes sense. But maybe that's what we need this year. Maybe we need 2 Chariots. I don't know if the other one comes up or not. But yeah, so far this is about making a determination or a decision, exerting self-control and willpower. And then that's funny that it comes up right after the other one. Wrong direction is kind of March. And the way that I would take that is this is through going through this process of making a decision to harness your self-control and willpower. You're going to see that you're going the wrong direction in something that you're doing, right? And this wrong direction could be how you're perceiving something emotionally. It could be the literal career path that you're taking. There's an issue that's going to be kind of coming up where you're going to say, shit, I got to like do an about face. And again, with the year being about tradition and belief, wrong direction isn't necessarily bad. It's like letting go of that belief structure, right? So the first quarter of 2021 is largely about kind of getting grounded and having a challenging and honest conversation with yourself. And I say challenging because a lot of times we don't want to hear what we have to hear, right? Next, we're going to move on to quarter 2, and this would be April. Here, April is 5 of Pentacles in reverse. This is about rehabilitation. To me, this is, how do I want to put this? Getting back to some kind of level of financial stability. And I don't know what's going to go on with the whole coronavirus thing, especially with the whole more contagious variant touching stateside. But there is this whole sense of some kind of financial stability or security being bestowed or being situated. So that's encouraging for the start of April, especially after kind of having that wrong direction pivot there. May is the Sun card in reverse. The Sun card in reverse is still positive, but it's about confusion, and May is kind of going to be a confusing but overall good month. And the way that I can take that too, like the way that I should say that we should look at this is with everything that's gone on since last year, good months have all been confusing good months. Like at least in my life, I would assume so for other people too. But I think that this is also saying kind of, how do I want to put this? It's going to be incredibly off-putting to have something good happen with kind of the flavor of everything else, and it's not going to seem right. And having something good happen will almost potentially make a level of dread rise up within us too. The other thing is Sun card in reverse in terms of like confusion, in terms of tradition and belief. Sometimes letting go of our traditions and our belief will create the confusion, and that confusion is what creates the excitement that makes like new horizons like fun. So there's that energy too. One thing that I want to say before we go any further with this is astrologically, from what I've heard, because I'm not an astrologist, but I stay in the know. 2021 is going to be not as challenging as 2020. It's still going to have its ups and downs. Like we're not out of the storm yet, or whatever the saying is. 2022 is going to be worse. So this is kind of taking as much of a breath of a fresh air as we can before we kind of get hit again next year. And May, I think, is one of the better months according to this. You would have to corroborate that with astrology too, but then in June, it's Queen of Wands in reverse, and this is going to be a more challenging one, right? So queens are about influence, wands are about desires. This card is about yielding and maybe being a little bit overly in your head about something. So it's like stopping doing something or holding back, and maybe embodying anxiety more than faith, or anxiety more than optimism, however you want to frame that. Um, so it kind of is the end of maybe some of the quote unquote good times in some terms, right? So there's this upswelling of kind of financial stability, transitions into some confusion. The confusion switches into self-doubt and paralysis, right? So that's quarter two. And then when we look at quarter three, you have July, which is Two of Wands in reverse. This is about impatience or haste or rushing through something, right? This is saying that you're going to want to create or do or manifest something so much so that you're kind of going to rush past bringing it in a meaningful or a good way. Be mindful of July. And in terms of tradition and belief too, since that's the overall flavor, traditionally our culture is very instant gratification. And this to me is saying that what you want is going to take longer results than what you're accustomed to waiting. So be mindful of that in July. August comes up. August is an emotionally fulfilling month. This is Knight of Cups. This is like the ideal romantic partner, or it could be about, pardon me, like being romantic, being charming. Like it's a very emotionally moving and fulfilling time next August is. And it's rewarding, right? So Knights have the energy of fire, and then the suit of cups is water. So it's emotions and desires are kind of like mingling and having a good go at things. September is Eight of Pentacles in reverse. This is kind of about wasting some time, or wasting some energy. So you have rushing through through something in July, this emotionally rewarding experience in August, And then September, the general flavor of it is not necessarily making the most of it. Like there's a level of missing out on kind of what you could actually achieve. So be mindful of that so you can harness it, right? Next up, we come to October of next year. Death card comes up in reverse, and this is like a big permanent change or transformation. And in terms of tradition and belief, this is like really shedding an old operating system. And I think any of us who have been paying attention and who have been present throughout this whole kind of coronavirus thing have already shed a bunch of our operating systems. Like I'm a completely different person from who I was a year ago, from who I was 9 months ago, 6 months ago, 3 months ago, like even a month ago. So I think a lot of us can probably... Oh, I'm sorry, that was the death card in reverse. Holy shit. I don't use this deck that often, and I couldn't see the numbers clearly. Strength card in reverse. So strength card in reverse would be brutishness and inflexibility, right? There's a level of trying to force something through or trying to make something work that isn't working, and then also not being willing to change something. So that's kind of the energy of October. I apologize for the misinterpretation initially. And that's kind of the tradition aspect and belief. And it's saying this tradition or belief, some of it we're not letting go of, and we're trying to force into this new paradigm still. And that's kind of what creates the energy of November for us, which is the Tower. And this is this complete destruction or obliteration. And when that happens, we kind of get a new perspective on life, right? A lot of people don't like the Tower, but what they forget to mention or forget to think about with the Tower is it clears away so you can see things. Like it's removing everything that's unnecessary so you can rebuild like a more solid foundation. And that's kind of the energy of November. Bittersweet. And then we move into December of next year. It's the Four of Swords in reverse, and this is just about being cautious and there being like some social confusion going on. Not necessarily going to be the easiest year. I was going to do a quintessence card where we add all of the numbers up, but what I'm going to do is draw from an oracle card deck instead. Use this one right here. Innocence comes up, and this is just the restoration to a more pristine perception of the outside world and tapping into looking at things through the eyes of a kid, right? So this is shedding that tradition or belief system, albeit not in the most pleasant way. So anyhow, if this was helpful, please leave me a like or a comment or whatever you can do. And I will see you at some point again soon. Peace.